June 25, 2009. The world stood still as news broke that Michael Jackson, the king of pop, had died at age 50. Fans gathered outside his Los Angeles home, their tears flowing freely as they mourned the loss of a legend who had defined generations. But as the initial shock wore off, a different kind of mystery began to unfold. Michael's body was taken to Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, one of the most exclusive celebrity cemeteries in America. The family held a private funeral on September 3rd, 2 months after his death. Only 200 guests received invitations to the intimate ceremony held inside the Great Mausoleum. Security was unprecedented. Armed guard patrolled every entrance. Helicopters circled overhead. The media was kept at a distance, their cameras unable to capture what happened inside those marble walls. What the public didn't know was that Forest Lawn officials had made extraordinary preparations for Michael's burial. They weren't just protecting a grave. They were hiding something far more complex. The mausoleum's Holy Terror section, where Michael would rest, had been completely renovated in secret. Construction crews worked through the night for weeks before the funeral. They installed reinforced steel doors, state-of-the-art surveillance systems, and motion sensors that could detect the slightest movement. But why such extreme measures for a burial site? The official explanation was simple: to prevent grave robbers and obsessed fans from disturbing the king of pop's eternal sleep. Yet whispers began circulating among Forest Lawn employees. They spoke of unusual requirements from the Jackson family, strange specifications that went beyond normal security protocols. Some workers claimed they'd been asked to sign confidentiality agreements that threatened severe legal action if they ever revealed what they'd witnessed. The truth was starting to emerge, but authorities were determined to keep it buried alongside the world's most famous entertainer. Within weeks of the funeral, conspiracy theories exploded across the internet. Forums filled with thousands of posts questioning whether Michael Jackson was actually buried at Forest Lawn. The theories weren't entirely baseless. Several funeral attendees had noticed something peculiar during the ceremony. The casket, a magnificent bronze masterpiece worth $25,000, seemed surprisingly light when pallbearers carried it. One family friend, speaking anonymously to a tabloid, claimed the pallbearers barely strained under its weight. For context, a bronze casket alone weighs roughly 300 pounds. Add a human body, and the total should exceed 500 pounds. Yet video footage from the funeral showed pallbearers moving with unusual ease. This observation sparked intense debate. Could the casket have been empty? If so, where was Michael's body? The theories multiplied rapidly. Some believed Michael had faked his own death to escape the crushing pressure of fame. Others suggested his body had been secretly cremated, with only ashes placed in the elaborate tomb. A darker theory proposed that Michael's body had been stolen before the funeral, replaced with weights to maintain the illusion. Private investigator Sarah Chen spent 3 years researching these claims. She interviewed former Forest Lawn employees, analyzed funeral footage frame by frame, and consulted with forensic experts. What she discovered was disturbing. 3 employees independently confirmed that unusual activity had occurred the night before Michael's funeral. Unmarked vehicles had entered the mausoleum after midnight. Men in suits, not wearing Forest Lawn uniforms, had been seen entering the Holy Terror section. Security footage from that night mysteriously disappeared from the facility's servers. When Chen tried to obtain official records, she hit wall after wall of bureaucratic resistance. Forest Lawn refused to answer questions. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office claimed all relevant documents were sealed due to ongoing litigation. Even Jackson family representatives declined to address the rumors. The silence only fueled more speculation, turning Michael's grave into one of America's most mysterious celebrity burial sites. Marcus Webb worked as a night security guard at Forest Lawn from 2010 to 2013. He never planned to speak about what he witnessed, but guilt eventually compelled him to come forward. On a cold November night in 2011, Marcus was patrolling the grounds when he noticed something unusual near the Great Mausoleum. A black SUV with tinted windows sat idling near a restricted entrance. This wasn't normal. After-hours access required advance authorization, and Marcus had received no such notice. He approached the vehicle cautiously, his hand near his radio. Before he could speak, 2 men in dark suits emerged. They didn't introduce themselves or explain their presence. Instead, they showed him a document on official-looking letterhead. Marcus couldn't read it completely in the darkness, but he saw signatures and government seals. The men told him to continue his patrol elsewhere. Something in their tone made Marcus comply without argument. He circled the mausoleum perimeter, his curiosity burning. When he returned 30 minutes later, the SUV was gone, but he noticed fresh footprints in the dew-covered grass leading directly to the Holly Terrace entrance. The next morning, Marcus asked his supervisor about the midnight visitors. His supervisor's face turned pale. He pulled Marcus into a private office and spoke in hushed tones. There were things about Michael Jackson's burial that Marcus didn't need to know, things that were above his pay grade. If he valued his job, he would forget everything he'd seen. Marcus stayed quiet for years, but similar incidents continued. Other guards reported seeing the same black SUVs, always at night, always near Michael's tomb. Some claimed to hear strange sounds emanating from the mausoleum, mechanical noises that had no logical explanation. One guard swore he'd seen technicians carrying equipment inside, though no maintenance work had been scheduled. Forest Lawn Management responded to these reports with strict warnings. Any employee caught discussing Michael Jackson's grave will be terminated immediately and potentially sued for breach of confidentiality. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison, a forensic pathologist with 30 years of experience, became involved with the Michael Jackson case indirectly. She never examined his body, but she reviewed the autopsy report after it was leaked online in 2013. What she found raised serious questions that authorities never adequately answered. The official cause of death was acute propofol intoxication, administered by Dr. Conrad Murray. But Dr. Morrison noticed inconsistencies in the documentation. The autopsy described Michael's body as being in relatively good condition for someone who'd allegedly suffered from numerous health problems. His internal organs showed less deterioration than expected. Most puzzling was a notation about his brain weight. The report listed it at 1,400 grams, which is actually above average. Typically, chronic drug users show signs of brain atrophy. Michael's brain appeared remarkably healthy. Then there was the matter of his skin. Michael had claimed for years that he suffered from vitiligo, a condition causing loss of skin pigmentation. The autopsy confirmed extensive depigmentation, validating his long-disputed explanation. However, Dr. Morrison noted that certain biopsy samples referenced in the report had gone missing from the coroner's office. These samples would have provided definitive proof of vitiligo's extent and could have revealed other medical conditions. Why would crucial evidence disappear? The timeline of Michael's death also contained gaps. He was pronounced dead at the hospital at 2:26 p.m., but paramedics had been called to his home more than an hour earlier. What happened during that missing time? Some medical professionals suggested that Michael might have been deceased for hours before 911 was called. If true, this would raise questions about the circumstances documented in official reports. Dr. Morrison attempted to contact the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office for clarification. She wanted to understand why certain standard procedures hadn't been followed. Her calls went unreturned. Her written requests received generic responses that answered nothing. Eventually, she was told that all inquiries about the Michael Jackson case must go through legal channels, effectively shutting down any independent medical review. In 2019, a former Forest Lawn executive named Robert Callahan decided to break his silence. Terminally ill with cancer and facing his own mortality, Robert felt compelled to reveal what he knew about Michael Jackson's grave. He contacted investigative journalist Amanda Price, handing her a folder of documents he'd secretly copied years earlier. The documents told an astonishing story. Michael Jackson's burial site wasn't simply a grave. It was a specially designed preservation chamber, unlike anything else at Forest Lawn. The Jackson family, working with medical specialists and engineers, had created a hermetically sealed environment designed to prevent any decomposition of Michael's body. The technology involved was typically reserved for medical research facilities or cryogenic preservation. Why would they go to such lengths? Robert explained that the Jackson family feared grave robbers wouldn't just steal jewelry or memorabilia. They worried that someone might steal Michael's body itself, either for ransom or for macabre display. The sealed chamber made any such theft virtually impossible. It also preserved Michael's remains in near-perfect condition, should legal matters ever require exhumation. But there was another reason, one that Robert found deeply disturbing. The family had allegedly received threats before Michael's death from individuals claiming they would prove he'd faked various medical conditions. By creating an impenetrable tomb, the family ensured that no unauthorized examination could ever occur. The truth about Michael's body would remain locked away forever. Amanda Price attempted to verify Robert's claims through official channels, but encountered the same walls of silence that had frustrated others. Forrest Lawn denied everything, calling Robert's statements the delusions of a dying man. The Jackson family's lawyers sent cease and desist letters. Government officials refused to confirm or deny anything about special security measures. Yet the evidence Robert provided was compelling. Photographs showed construction blueprints for the Holy Terrace modifications. Invoices documented purchases of specialized equipment. Email exchanges between Forest Lawn executives and Jackson family representatives discussed extraordinary preservation requirements. Today, Michael Jackson's grave remains one of the most heavily guarded sites in any civilian cemetery. The truth lies beneath tons of marble and steel, protected by technology, legal threats, and official secrecy. Whether the extreme measures protect Michael's dignity or hide uncomfortable truths, only those who built that tomb truly know. And they are not telling.